But here, yeah, on to another one. I want to do this one. Trump plans for mass deportation evokes 226-year-old law used to detain Japanese Americans. Donald Trump wants to immediately invoke a more than 200-year-old wartime law that grants the president unilateral authority to deploy federal law enforcement for rounding up and deporting immigrants as soon as he enters office. The former president, speaking from Aurora, Colorado on Friday, told supporters that he plans to revive the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which will give the president unprecedented ability to target foreigners for removal without a hearing or due process, based solely on their place of birth or citizenship. His Operation Aurora, named after the Colorado city he has degenerated as a war zone for migrant crimes, which also dispatched elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is no single one left in this country, he said.
Every single, this guy has already told us he wants to go back
hunt down, arrest, and deport. Keywords, hunt down.
He likes to use tough words like he's tough and he don't have a tough bone in his body.
And
we
the
all
police
looked at
have
him.
Immunity.
We've all saw him when he who did he line up against? I forget it was either one of those MMA fighters. I can't remember who it was exactly, man. Went in there wiggling around like a fish. You know what I mean? This guy's not tough. He hasn't had to do a tough thing in his entire life, except for probably file bankruptcy a few times. I'm not going to say that's not tough. Probably is. I mean, let's be real here. We all understand. Like, we sit back and right now we sound like Nazi Germany. We sound like we're blaming someone for something that's bad in our life. What's bad in our life right now? Inflation? Is inflation bad? Because I'm going to be real here. The biggest inflation that we have in our life right now is housing costs. That's probably the biggest, and food costs as well. Food costs as well. I'll give us that one. But housing costs, we understand that during the pandemic and right before that, when interest rates were really low, that's when housing costs, rent costs, everything started skyrocketing because everyone could buy a house and everyone had money. So rental prices and they were getting filled up. So rental prices went up through the roof as well. Who was president during that time? Okay, now let's go to food. We all understand that first time that anyone said anything about like making sure there's laws to bring down food prices, people start calling them communists. You know what I mean? Like, do we want people to step in and say, hey, you're charging $6 for this cheese that you should be charging $2 for because there's no reason for that extra $4 on there. You're like, oh, that's a communist thing. We don't want you doing that in this country. Well, they're beating us on the price. You know what I mean? And if no one steps in, if the government doesn't step in, who's going to do it? So do you want it or don't you want it?
I'm saying like this, bro. At this point, he could just be, I mean, they're saying the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, part of century-old Alien Sedition Act drafted during an undeclared war between U.S. and France. He's going to use this to be like, well, if you're not a white American, like he's going to say, he's going to get rid of everybody. I don't know why everybody's just thinking like he's just going to get rid of immigrants and we're just going to sit there on our porch like, yep, you should have listened.
I think this is what I believe. This is my personal opinion. This is what I believe. I believe that he's going to go after people who are in the country illegally or even partially legally if they don't have full status. And he's trying to get rid of them because he understands he's trying to keep this nation a whiter nation. This is not everybody. Let's just be real here. This is not German or a British or a French nation. You know what I mean? We don't want to, we clumped all you guys together, but in reality, you guys clumped yourselves together because you were afraid to be minorities. That's the fact. You're really a bunch of minority groups that push yourselves together and said, oh, well, we're all one thing, but you're just not. But I think that the biggest thing with us, there's no way. Where are we gonna go? Where are we going? They're not. Listen, they'll pull us out of here by over. You know what they say over our cold. Put up like pulling guns out of your cold dead hands.
I'll tell you exactly where they're gonna put them.
Where?
Back in slavery.
No black. I'm not going. You going back to slavery?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody. I ain't never been in slavery. I don't know. Me personally, but I know my ancestors have been.
What do you think prison is? They'll just lock you up. They'll be like, hey, they'll say, hey, you're aiding and abetting, because you made a post online, you're aiding and abetting immigrants, so we're going to lock you up.
I think that
we're gonna lock you up. Hey, this neighborhood has all immigrants in it. We can't tell them apart because I don't know if they're Somali or American.
Hey, what you're saying right there, I agree.
Bro,
they locked up.
Remember, they locked up the Japanese Americans. That's how they took Bainbridge Island.
I agree with that part right there. What you're saying, they're gonna go after. That's the same thing I said earlier about why we need to vote. It's like because I believe they will start opening doors and saying, oh, we can run in your house because we think that this is going on here. I believe that part.
Hey, you don't like what I'm saying?
Almost 50 million black people. If there's not over 50 million black people in this country, it's going to be a very difficult time to start rounding us up and stopping us. Man, we got
you
everybody
can try,
got.
cuz I ain't going back.
Everybody got
I ain't
guns,
going
man.
back.
Like you said, everybody got guns, bro.
Everybody got guns. They
You know
ain't
what I'm
stopped
saying?
making
Like,
guns when they made yours. I'm just saying,
it's a
that's
problem.
what's going to happen.
It's not a threat of anything, but if people start talking about you're going to go into the we're going to put you in these internment camps, and we start seeing things that are funny going on, I think people that's when people will start looking at life a little bit different and start talking about revolution and things of that nature. But I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there yet.
Shoot, man,
let's see how the vote turns out, and let's see what happens.
They setting it up. I'm telling everybody, you better
see who I'm voting for. That's why I don't sit back and talk about who's not doing what and how things aren't going. When I see that we're so close to being able to, we're so close to being able to say we're about to have universal child care for all Americans. Man, think about that. That's huge.
Yep.
That's what type of stuff Democrats do.
Or we can have a king.
That's the kind of stuff Democrats do.
We can have a mad king.
You know what I mean?
Or we can have democracy.
Or we can have $25,000 for first-time home buyers. That's the kind of stuff Democrats do.
And what I've been saying the whole time, check it out. They didn't arrest the people trying to overthrow the government. Those people are still running the government, trying to run it to the ground. And the number one co-conspirator of it has a 50-50 chance of being president. America is over.
And that's why I look at life and I pick the side and I say it's a marriage of convenience because I understand what I see factually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But